Okay, welcome online. So, if you're online and if you can hear me very audibly, kindly signify, please. And while we wait for others, you can just tell me if you can hear me clearly. Please uh, do me a favor by letting me know if my audio is very good and if my video is very fine. Let me know if you're seeing everything clearly and if you're hearing me very clearly. So please, we won't like to waste much of our time here. We'll try in as much as possible to start quite on time. So while that is so, let's just quickly wait for others to join. And of course, you can please let me know if my screen is so good. If you can see me, if you can see my screen and if you can hear my voice, please let me know. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Oh, great. Adibola Jagede, thank you very much. Miriam Oladimeji, sound and clear. Good. Thank you very much. Good evening, Miriam Oladimeji, and good evening, Adibola Jagede. Thank you very much. Oh, great. Chukuka Frederick, thank you very much. Oh, thank you, Aziz Ibrahim. Good evening, everybody. Let's just chill a bit for others to join. Thank you very much. I appreciate. Thank you. Good evening, Hope Suzanne and Akahan Fanning. It's very clear. Yeah, wow, wow. It's very clear and sound. That's good news. Dotun Miroyi, screen okay, voice loud enough. Great, thank you very much. Good evening, Akile Samuel. David Baridoshia. Good evening, sir. Okay, loud and clear. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to hear that. Let's chill for others to join. So, because tonight is not gonna be as usual, it's gonna be different. Screen is okay. Wow, very fine. That's perfect. That's very perfect. Thank you very much. Um, Good evening, Olua Lanomi Meroyi. Um, Akehan Fanen, good evening. Dr. Meroyi, I can see you. Oh, thank you very much. The voice is loud and clear. Blessed. Okay, Adiboye Adewumi, blessed evening to you too. My day has been fine. Thank you very much for asking. Bolanle Abiono, good evening. God bless you. Let's just chill for others. I know some of us will be very late, and I'm very sure some of us are quite on the road. But you can just be attentive. Good evening, Madam Ogochuku. Good evening, Madam. Mr. Osholawale, good evening to you. Abolanle Abiono, good evening. Bisola Kudi, yes, nice name. Good evening, Bisola Kudi. Ah, Osholawale, thank you very much. My day has been very good. I appreciate you for asking. Thank you very much. My day has been awesome. How was your day too? So let's just wait in 10 minutes or 20 minutes time. We're going to start. Let's just wait for others to join. Please, let's wait for others to join. I know it can be painful that we have to wait, but let's just wait for everybody to join so that we can. Thank you very much. We're going to be starting in 10 to 20 minutes time. Appreciate. Let's just wait for others to join, please. Let's just wait for others to join. Naimika, how are you? Good evening. Oh, good evening. Aziz Ayobami, good evening. Welcome online. Hey, Chiadozie, Ohayere, good evening. I appreciate you guys. Oluwafemi Michael, good evening. Thank you very much. So we have less than 10 minutes to get started. Kumbi Adiola, good evening. Daudu Tobi, good evening. Telma Oyenuga, good evening. Um, okay, Oluwafemi Michael, Akinleye, Elijah, good evening. Oluwafemi Michael again. Okay. Basi Basi, thank you very much. Good evening. Thank God. Mbaide, good evening. Thank you very much. Good evening. Telma Oyenuga, Daudu Tobi, good evening. Kumbi Adiola, good evening. Koka Kingbade, good evening. Damian Kingsley, good evening. It's good having you guys around. Let's just wait. We're going to be starting in 10 minutes time, please. Thank you very much for your patience. Adebayo Olanriwaju, good evening. I appreciate you guys. So let's just wait for others to join. We have less than 10 minutes. We have less than 7 minutes to get started. Kemisola Christiana, good evening. Welcome online. Ishola Olayinka, good evening. Femi Emmanuel, good evening. It's a pleasure having you guys. Olumide Adejumo, good evening. Okay, great. So we're starting in 4 minutes time. Um, Abiola Adeni, good evening. And who do I have here? Phantom X, good evening. Salaudin Abdul Mumin, good evening. Latif Salau, good evening. Orojo Fumalayo, good evening. Check your audio, Orojo Fumalayo. I think everybody here is hearing me. Um, Good evening, D Gold. Telma, yeah, I know you're waiting. We're gonna be starting in less than 4 minutes. Kanabari Gagi, good evening. Ola Dijola, I think you should check your audio. Oh, okay, okay. Maybe basically because where I I was doing something else, so I kept quiet. Okay. So can you hear me clearly now? Orojo Fumlayo. Can you hear me now? Please let me know. Okay, thank you, Oluwafemi Michael, for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. Ola Dijola, thank you very much for letting me know. D Gold, good evening. D Gold, thank you very much. Osho, Olawale. Innocent, good evening. Innocent in Qatar, good evening. So in 2 minutes time, we're gonna start. David Folorenshaw, good evening. Then good evening, Mr. Adewala Wolabi Farindi. Okay, let's quickly get started. Now, good evening to everybody. I quickly want to reiterate the purpose of this live. The purpose of this live is simply to um, give us a background understanding of what we've been doing. So get us acquainted with different technologies and use cases, frameworks and use cases, so that all this issue of why am I learning this, all these questions of why am I learning this, what am I going to be using with it, or what am I going to use with all, as in what am I going to practicalize or put into practical the programming languages and frameworks that I'm about to learn or I've been learning. So this should put an end to those questions. Priscilla and Kechi, good evening. Oluwatobi Michael, good evening. So this section should put an end to those questions of why am I learning this? What are the use cases? Where are they applicable and all those things? So that is the essence of all this of this particular life. So we're going to be going in depth and be touching every nooks and crannies of technologies that we've been working with or that we will be working with. Shalom Olawepo, sorry. Good evening. So we're going to be touching every areas so as for us to have an understanding of what, because some of us are just learning it without knowing what each of those technologies are being used for. What do I need to scale? What do I need um, to stay uh, attractive to employers and all that? So all these things are what you should know or what you should have known. But we most of us have limited knowledge before delving um, into various technologies. So in the long run, we tend to some of us lose interest, some of us um, because of say get along the line uninterested. You understand? So today we should put an end to all those kind of. Thank you very much, D Gold, to all those. So we're going to be starting with, of course, we are going to be touching front end, back end. We're going to be touching DevOps, data science, cloud computing, but it might not be in this order. But of course, we are going to touch every areas, and of course, if not all the areas, at least most areas needed in the industry are going to be touched. So the first thing here is going to be the front end developers. Now, who are the front end developers? Good evening, Usman Musa. Nachitam Chime, good evening. Welcome. So, the first thing we have here is front end developer. Who are the front end developer? What are the frameworks needed in front end development? So, these are what we will be learning. Front end development involves, okay, we breathe. Thank you, Priscilla. We breathe the football. Good evening. Tactad Africa. Good evening. Ifidi W. Effort. Good evening. Marcus Opomo. Welcome. Welcome. So front-end developers, uh, in front-end developers, the basic thing you should know is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's not enough, but that is just the basic thing you must start with. But first of all, uh, let's assume we don't know what front-end development is. Let me reiterate what front-end development is. Okay, Joshua Shulesi, thank you very much for. Oh, thank you very much for letting me know. TikTok Africa, Awatu Christian, thank you very much for letting me know. So, the basic of front end development is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. What is front end development? Well, it's an aspect of development that involves creating the user interface, which is the UI, and of course, the user experience of a website or web applications. Well, to master front-end technologies, you need to become proficient in a combination of programming languages, you understand, and of course, markup languages. You also need to think of framework like Paul, Believe, Dennis. Good evening. Framework like you need to think about frameworks, libraries, and tools. So I will um, give us some front-end technologies to master along with their common use cases. So, um, the frameworks to use here are, we will be talking about React, Angular, and Vue.js. You understand? Of course, we will discuss their use cases. You understand? But most times or most developers, they tend to call React framework. It's a library though, but let's for the sake of time, let's just not delve into the nitty-gritty of it. Let's just assume it's framework, but it's library. You understand? React is a library, Angular is a framework, Vue.js is a framework. Uh Tolilope Okunola, good evening. Wasiu Olugbami, good evening. So let's consider here, we'll be considering React, we'll be considering Angular and Vue.js. So other skills that are needed here, you need packet manager. You understand? Um, but before that, let me let me go back and state what HTML is. I didn't define it um, the way I should. Well, HTML means it's an acronym for Hypertext Markup Language. The use case of HTML is the fundamental markup. Let's say HTML is the fundamental markup language for creating the structure and content of web pages. You use HTML to define, let's say, the basic layout, headings, paragraphs, list, links, and other content elements on a web page. Welcome, Nandam Gonin. Then CSS. CSS is, if you take a look at here, we have CSS. CSS is an acronym for Cascading Style Sheet. Cascading Style Sheet is, the use case is this. It is a way of styling our HTML or our web page. It is used for styling and layout anyways. So you can control the colors, the font, the spacing, positioning, and responsiveness of web page elements. You know, it also has its own framework. We have CSS frameworks like Bootstraps, and of course Tailwind CSS, and of course which can simplify styling. You know, framework is used to, okay, we breed football. I'm coming into that. I'm coming into that. Just don't worry. We'll discuss everything. Don't worry. So, um, so the essence of framework is to simplify or to ease your stress. You know, it enables you to work on some boilerplate and some modules that are already being tested and confirmed okay, rather than coding from scratch. You understand? So that is the essence of frameworks. Then, of course, the JavaScript. We all know what JavaScript is, except because of the fact that we've not started coding JavaScript, basically because we follow um, there is a sequence we follow. You know, we follow the sequence of the curriculum. So by virtue of that, we've not delved into JavaScript. So JavaScript is a versatile scripting language that enables interactivity and um, dynamic behavior in web pages. You know, it has behaviors to your web page. So it is used for tasks like form validation, DOM manipulation, animation, and fetching data from servers. Now, think of it like you're building a house. HTML is the brick, the brick and the foundation, the rods and all those things that you'll be using to build your house. Then the plastering, the painting is the CSS. Why the lighting and the lighting, the electrical gadgets, you know, are the those things that had. Thank you, King Shin. Those things that adds behavior to your building is what is known as what JavaScript, for example. So we also have front end frameworks that, you know, we are talking about front end now. So we have frameworks for front end. So these are React, Angular, and Vue.js. So what is React? React, okay, let me first of all explain the founder of React. React is developed by Facebook. You understand? So the it is React is a kind of it's a library that is used for building single page applications, which is known as SPAs, and dynamic user interfaces rather. So it's a component based. It is component based and offers a kind of virtual DOM for efficient updates. Then Angular is developed by Google. Angular is a comprehensive framework for building SPH2 with features like two-way data binding, dependencies, and dependency injection and power routing. Rukayat Rasak, good evening. Bastowar, good evening. Then Vue.js, it's a progressive framework though, but it's not like Angular and of course React. It's a progressive framework for building user interfaces. Vue.js is known for its simplicity and ease of integration with other projects. Now, these are the major things you need to know in front end to be a front end developer. To start as a front end developer, of course, if you are either you are starting out as an intern, or you want to work as an intern, or a beginner, a junior, at least you should have all these that I've just mentioned. In terms of the framework and libraries, of course, you can go with React, you can go with Angular, you can go with Vue.js, but of course, the most popular of them all is React. So if you have HTML, CSS, JavaScript, of course, and of course some of the libraries, and you have React, you are employable. You understand? But you also need to stand competitive, and to be a good front end engineer, to claim years of experience, to show that you have experience in all these things. You should have some other technologies, or other skills. So other skills like package managers. What are the package managers? Here we are talking about the npm and yarn. You understand? So what is npm? Npm is an acronym that stands for Node Package Manager. It is used for installing and managing JavaScript packages and libraries for your project. Then we have yarn, which is also an acronym. It's an acronym for yet another package manager that is compatible with npm and offers performance improvements. You understand? Then another skills that I expect you to have is the build tools. To know about the build tools, here we're talking about the Webpack and Babel. Well, Webpack is a module bundler that can bundle JavaScript, CSS, and other assets for production, along with features like code splitting and alt modules replacement. Then on the other hand, we have Babel. Babel is just a kind of how do I put it? A kind of JavaScript compiler, yes, that allows you to use the latest ECMAScript features by transpiling them to other versions supported by browsers. Then another skills that I expect you to have is version control. Here we are going to be talking about Git. You understand? Now, Git is not Git bash. Git is not GitHub or GitLab or all those things. Git is a distributed version control system that helps you track changes in your code, collaborate with others, and manage your project history. So GitHub, GitLab, and all those stores are just cloud providers that you out kind of a vault where you keep your source code, your source files, and all those things. Then here we are. Another skills I expect you to have is the skill of having responsive design. What are responsive design, or what do I mean by responsive design? Here we are talking about having the skill of media queries, flexbox, and grid. Now, what is media queries, or what are media queries? These are CSS techniques for making your web applications responsive to different screen sizes and devices. Bishop Longman, Christendom, welcome. It's better late than never. So then the flex boxes and grid. This talks about the layout systems that make it easier to create responsive design. Akishanla Abajide Amos, welcome. Thank you very much. Then another one we should be looking at is performance optimization. Here we are talking about performance auditing and lazy loading. What is performance? What do I mean by performance auditing? This is about using tools like Lighthouse or PageSpeed Insights to identify and fix performance issues, as well as lazy loading. Lazy loading um, is like, okay, loading assets like images and scripts only when they are needed. It helps you to load um, uh, static files only when they are needed, like, or media files and all those things. So what what it does is to increase or to prevent your site from. Okay, sorry, I'm a bit confused about packet manager. Don't worry, Kinshin. It's after the class. I will make it public so that you can have a view of it. Oshmantu Oshmante dancer and a designer. Welcome. Good evening. So I'll make it available on the public this thing. So don't worry. So lazy loading helps your when you apply the skills of lazy loading on the front end, it makes your site to be faster, and it does not make it prevents your site from being slow. Then another one we'll talk about here is testing and debugging. When you want to testing and debugging involve just Jasmine or Mocha, and of course some dev tools. What I mean by just Jasmine and Mocha is it's a kind of testing frameworks for writing unit test and integration test. You understand? Adiola Temilade Lydia, welcome. Then we are talking about, and of course, I made mention of DevTools here. DevTools is a kind of browser developer tools for debugging JavaScript and inspecting web pages, web page elements. We're gonna be making use of the DevTool by the time we start using JavaScript or doing JavaScript. Then we talk about build and deployment. Now, build and deployment is it's a kind of we'll be talking about continuous integration, continuous deployment. That is the meaning of CI/CD pipelines and of course hosting services. So by continuous integration and continuous deployment, which is CI/CD pipelines, it is it is used to automate the process of building, testing, and deploying front-end applications. And of course, hosting services like platforms, let's say hosting services, platforms like Netlify, Vercel, GitHub Pages, or AWS S3 for hosting your front-end projects. These are what useful skills to have too. You understand? Then we have PWAs. That is, here we're talking about service workers and app manifest. PWAs, which stands for Progressive Web Apps. And yeah, I made mention of service worker. By service worker, what it means is these are JavaScript files that runs in the background and enabling features like offline support and push notifications. You understand? You're going to be taught all this. Just don't worry. Then app manifest. App manifest, we are talking about JSON file that provides a kind of metadata about your web page, enabling users to add it to their home screen. Good evening, David Oshino. So we still have other skills, but at least these skills are more than enough for you to have, and these are what you're gonna be taught in our later lessons. So don't worry. Then we talk about, of course, I shouldn't exclude security. Security is very, very important. It's an important aspect of web development. Here we're gonna be talking about XXX, CSP, and HTTPS. XXX, which is an acronym for cross-site scripting prevention. It's a technique to prevent malicious code injection into your front end. Then the CSP, which stands for Content Security Policy. It's a security features to mitigate SSS attacks. You understand? Then we have HTTPS. I don't know if you have seen some sites where they will write HTTP not secure. You understand? If you have seen such site, it means it's a kind of a kind of site. Maybe let's assume you're visiting a site where um, you are to input some data, or some you have to purchase or to input some personal information, and you see HTTP not secure. It means kind of beware. You are not meant to enter any login information. You understand? On that page. So HTTP is just hypertext transfer protocol. But when you have HTTPS, is the S there, it means secure. It's a secure communication between the client and the server. So in a nutshell, um, the front end landscape is continuously evolving though. So staying updated with the uh, latest trend, and of course having cutting edge technology is crucial for mastering front end development. You know, well, also it depends on your specific project or project requirements and goal. So you just need to focus more on certain technologies and tools. So it's not mandatory to have all these skills, but the basic skills are the ones are of course it's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then framework, React, and all those things. You understand? But these other skills make it just they make you to stand out. That's why here we are not going to be excluding them. We are going to be including them. We are going to be taking you all these skills. You understand? So because they are important. Then we are going to be talking about backend developer. In the backend developer, we're going to be considering Python, Node.js, Ruby, Java, and C Sharp. You understand? So yeah, yeah, we are much more concerned about the backend development. You understand? So the frameworks are, yeah, we're gonna be taking a look at the frameworks like Django, Express.js, Rails. Rails, by Rails I mean Ruby on Rails, Spring Boot, Hibernate, and what have you, ASP.NET and stuff. Now, what is backend development? Backend development is a kind of development that is responsible for server-side logic, databases, and APIs that power web applications and services. You know, so to become a kind of proficient in backend development, you need to master a combination of programming languages, frameworks, database, and tools. You understand? So, like you are seeing on the screen, these are the core backend technologies to master, and of course, I'm going to and their common use cases. I'm going to tell us about their use cases, and of course the frameworks and other skills that you need in the backend. So I'll start with I will start with Node.js. You understand? And meanwhile, let me explain. So let me start with Node.js. Node.js, which is a runtime for JavaScript, is often used. The use case is this: it's often used for building server-side applications with JavaScript, and of course, it is known for its non-blocking, event-driven architecture, making it suitable for real-time applications like chat apps and streaming services. And of course, the framework for Node.js is Express.js. So JavaScript is a front end, is a scripting language. It's a programming language that is used as for scripting. Now it works in the front end, but you need to be able to allow JavaScript work on the back end. eh, you use a runtime like Node.js, and of course using the Express.js as the what the framework. Now, number two that I will talk about is our own very Python. What is the use case of Python? Python is a versatile and widely used and is widely used for backend development. It is commonly employed in web framework like Django and Flask for building web applications and RESTful API. By RESTful API, I mean REST, REST. That is, it is not to rest on your bed. It means representative state transfer. So Django is more widely acceptable, is robust, scalable. I don't think anything has ever existed on this earth that Django cannot build. Django is scalable and is good for macro services. But Flask, on the other hand, is for small projects. You understand? Microservices. Then another language we're going to be taking a look at is Ruby. Ruby is also popular for web development, particularly with the Ruby on Rails framework, which is known for its productivity and convention over kind of configuration approach. So the framework for Ruby is what? Ruby on Rails. Don't forget. That's why I used Rails here in the framework. Then Java. Java finds its use case in web development and several other things. But here we are still talking about web development. That's why I don't want to talk about any other thing that Java can be used for. But we are still going to be talking about that. So Java is often used for building large scales, enterprise level applications, and Java based frameworks like Spring or Spring Boot and Java EE are common choices for backend development. Then the next one we're going to be talking about is C Sharp. C Sharp, of course, is a language that is owned by Microsoft. It's a primary language for developing backend applications in Microsoft ecosystem. So the framework for it is ASP.NET. We have ASP.NET and others. It's a widely used framework for building web applications and API with C Sharp. Coca, good evening. Omili Joseph, good evening. Then Kobaro Rosemary, good evening. So I have explained what other frameworks are. Let me reiterate the frameworks. I said Express.js is a minimal and flexible Node the JS web application framework. It is ideal for building. Adebanke Adelogi, good evening. Ejetawo Idudu, good evening. So I said Express.js is minimal and flexible Node.js web application framework, which is ideal for building RESTful APIs and web applications. Then Django, of course, is a high-level Python web framework that simplifies backend development, making it easier to build robust web applications. Then Ruby on Rails, often called Rails, is a Ruby framework known for its rapid development capabilities as well. So it's great for building web applications quickly too. Then Spring Boot, which is for Java. Spring Boot simplifies Java-based backend development and is often used for building scalable, production-ready applications. Then we have ASP.NET, which is for C Sharp. It's a Microsoft framework for building web applications and API using C Sharp. It's suitable for Windows-based server environment. Now, other skills. We have other skills here. We have databases. Now, in terms of databases, we're going to be talking about relational databases and, of course, non-relational databases. For example, we have PostgreSQL, MySQL, SQL Server, and what have you. And non-relational databases, which is known as NoSQL databases. Example, which is MongoDB, Cassandra, and Redis. What is a relational database, or what are relational databases? Relational databases are databases that are suitable for applications that requires structured data with complex relationship, such as e-commerce platforms or financial system. Reason being that it is uh it is what vertically scaled. You understand? Then non-relational database, which is also called NoSQL databases. Like I said, MongoDB, and of course Cassandra and Redis. NoSQL databases are preferred for applications with unstructured or semi-structured data. We are talking about real-time analytics and high scalability, such as social networks and IoT platforms. It is well suitable. In fact, NoSQL is optimized for such tech activities. Then we have API development, which is the use of RESTful APIs and GraphQL. I told you RESTful API simply means it's an acronym for representative state transfer. RESTful APIs are widely used for communications between client and server in the web applications. So they follow a kind of stateless architecture and use HTTP methods. Like I said, I remember I told you HTTP simply means hypertext transfer protocols. And of course, for CRUD operations. By CRUD, I mean CRUD. CRUD simply means it's an acronym for create, read, update, and delete. You understand? It's a way we manipulate our databases and stuff. So the GraphQL offers a more flexible and efficient way to request and manipulate data from the server. It's a kind of it makes it suitable for applications with diverse data requirements. Another good thing about GraphQL is that it gives schema to your API. So that is that. Then another skills you should be as a backend developer that you must or you should have that will make you stand out is containerization and orchestration skills. Here we are going to be talking about Docker and Kubernetes. Now, what is Docker and what is its use case? Docker is a containerization tool that allows you to create and deploy applications in a container or in containers, ensuring consistent environment across development, testing, and production. Now, let's assume you are to ship your code base to maybe your teammates or your colleagues, and maybe your all the dependencies of your code base are being done or on Windows, what are compatible with Windows operating system. Now, maybe if one of your teammates is using a kind of Unix-based system like say Mac OS and Ubuntu, that is Linux. Now, instead of your teammates or your colleagues to be struggling with, you know, meeting up with the requirement of the dependencies that of your code dependencies or code in installed modules that are working with Windows. They don't need to be worried about anything because they have it containerized. So it maintains simple operating system across platforms. So I can work with your code, other persons or other colleagues can also work with your code. That is one of the greatest good thing about containerization. Then we're talking about orchestration here. Jola Olalekan, welcome. In terms of containerization, sorry, orchestrations. Here we're going to be talking about Kubernetes. Kubernetes is a container orchestration platform that automates the deployment, scaling, and management of containerized application in a clustered environment. You might be wondering, do you need to have Kubernetes and Docker? Yes, it's good to have both. But if you have the full knowledge of Docker, you can as well substitute Kubernetes for Docker Swarm. on in Docker. It also works. So another thing you should know is authentication and authorization. Here we'll be talking about OAuth and OpenID Connect. These standards are used to implement secure authentication and authorization mechanisms. It's often used in conjunction with providers like Google or Auth0 and stuff like that. Then in another technology that I expect you to have as a backend developer is Redis. You understand? A catching it's a catching skill. Thank you very much. The last one. Now, Redis is a popular in-memory data store which is used for catching frequently accessed data and improving applications performance. It's an advanced level catching system. Then going forward, I expect you to have skills on message queue. Here we'll be talking about message queues. We're talking about RabbitMQ, Apache Kafka, or AWS SQS. Any one of these is okay. So RabbitMQ, Apache Kafka, and AWS SQS, these are message queues that facilitate asynchronous communications between services, which helps you to decouple components and ensure scalability and fault tolerance. Then another thing I expect you to have is serverless computing skills. Here we're going to be talking about AWS Lambda, Azure Functions, and Google Cloud Functions. These serverless platforms allow you to run code in response to events without managing server infrastructure, making them suitable for event-driven applications. Then, of course, development and DevOps, which is a CI/CD pipeline, which I've talked about before. You have quite numbers of things, but of course, remember I told you that CI/CD pipelines implement continuous integration and continuous deployment. So the pipeline is used to automate testing, build, and of course deployment process. So going forward, we are going to be talking about data science. Yeah, in data science, we're going to be talking about technologies like Python, R, Scala, of course, and special skills like statistics and math. You may have seen some or heard from some boot camps that will tell you you don't need statistics or maths. They are not telling you the truth. As a data scientist, you should have not just statistics, in fact, combination of statistics and mathematics. But yeah, we are going to be making it simple. You understand? There's nothing to be scared about. You understand? No fear. You understand? Don't don't let that intimidate you. But the truth here is you need the knowledge of statistics and mathematics in data science. But that shouldn't be something to be worried about. So the fields we are going to be looking at here is machine learning, ML, AI, which is artificial intelligence, data analytics, business analytics, and DL, which is what deep learning field. So, like I said, ab initio, whoever has told you or whoever is telling you that you don't need mathematics and statistics, that person is not telling you the truth, or that such an organization or such a bootcamp is not being truthful. So, here we'll be considering skills, requirements, and use cases. So, uh, first of all, I've not told you what data science is. Data science is a kind of multidisciplinary field that involves um, extracting insight and knowledge from data by using various techniques, algorithms, processes, and systems. It encompasses a wide range of technologies and methodologies. You understand? I'm going to come up with key components, technologies, and of course common use cases in the field of data science, which we're about to delve into. So here we're going to be taking a look at data collection and storage. Of course, by data collection and storage, we should consider something like or stuff like databases, data warehouses, and data lakes. What are databases? Of course, I have explained before. Those are the SQL and NoSQL that I explained. Then data warehouses, here we have examples like Amazon Redshift, Google BigQuery. You may have seen several adverts of Google talking about BigQuery, and data lakes like Hadoop, HDFS. Then the next thing we're going to be looking at is data cleaning and processing. Here the skills you will be needing here is Python, R, data wrangling tools. Of course, you can do away with R, but of course Python is core. By data cleaning and processing, the use case is, oh sorry, I didn't tell you the use cases, the use case of data collection and storage. It is used for storing and managing large volumes of structured and unstructured data from various sources, such as sensors, logs, databases, blah blah blah, and web service and stuff. Then the use cases of data cleaning and processing. We have, it is used for removing missing values, handling outliers, standardizing data format, and preparing data for analysis. Then the next one here is uh, data analysis and exploration. Here you'll be needing some Python skills such as Matplotlib, Seaborn, R, Jupyter Notebooks. Of course, Jupyter Notebook is just like um, a kind of it's a form of an IDE too, but it's encapsulated inside a bigger tool that is known as Anaconda. Don't worry, we're gonna be getting used to tools like Anaconda as we proceed. So the next one is machine learning. Machine learning come pre-bundled with, or machine learning is can be empowered with frameworks like scikit-learn, which is from Python, TensorFlow from Google, PyTorch also, and Keras. Use cases of these are for building predictive models, classification, regression, clustering, recommendation system, and natural language processing. The next one we have is deep learning, which is for neural networks. Here we have DNN, RNN, and CNN. By DNN we mean DNN simply means neural networks. Then RNN simply means recurrent neural networks, while CNN is convolutional neural networks. So the use case here is, or the use cases are image recognition, speech recognition, text generation, and other tasks that requires complex pattern recognition. The next one we're going to be talking about is data visualization, where you'll be needing tools like Tableau, Power BI, of course Matplotlib from Python, and D3D.js. The use cases of these are creating interactive and informative visualization to communicate insight from data effectively. So next one, let's check the next one here. We have, okay, of course, we have big data processing. where we'll be using Hadoop, Apache Spark, and Scala. Of course, we all know Scala is a programming language which is very optimized for big data. But whatsoever Scala can do, Python can do better. So the use case is analyzing and processing large data sets in parallel for scalability and speed. Then other ones that we have is natural language processing, where we'll be using SPECI, transformers. Then we have time series analysis, where we'll be using ARIMA models, Prophet, and then A/B testing and experimentation, where we'll be using statistical testing libraries like SciPy. We also have data governance and privacy, where we'll be using data encryption, GDPR compliant tools, data anonymization techniques and stuff. Then, of course, we have anomaly detection for where we'll be using statistical methods and machine learning algorithms, as well as healthcare analytics like electronic health records, EHRs, medical imaging analysis, and what have you. So, here comes the big thing: mobile, uh, mobile developer. Now, in mobile development, we'll be needing languages. For somebody that asked questions before, Chukwunonso Chikwendu, welcome. So, mobile developers, you'll be needing technologies like, of course, programming languages like Java, Kotlin, C Sharp, Swift, Dart, and JavaScript. You cannot escape any of these, of course. So, what are the frameworks and needs? We need, of course, the frameworks and needs are Android Studio, Xcode, Xamarin, Flutter, and React Native. First of all, let me tell us, or let me explain what mobile engineering is, or mobile development. It is a field of software development that focused on creating mobile applications for smartphones and tablets. It involves the use of various technologies and tools to design, develop, test, maintain, and of course maintain mobile apps. The key aspect of mobile engineering, along with technologies and of course and their common use cases, are going to be explained. So, like I've said, the frameworks and needs are Android Studio, Xcode, Xamarin, Flutter, React Native. So, the skills, requirements, and use cases. First of all, we need to look at the mobile platforms. We have three platforms to look at. The first platform is iOS. The iOS here, we'll be needing technologies like Swift, Objective-C, and Xcode. Swift and Objective-C. Swift is the language of that is owned by Apple, and of course, Objective-C is another mobile framework. You understand? While Xcode is like the coding environment for an environment where to test and debug your mobile app. Then, of course, we'll be looking at another mobile platform such as Android. Here, we'll be needing skills like Java, any of Java, Kotlin. You understand? And the environment to test and debug our Java and Kotlin code or Android code is called, thank you very much, it's called Android Studio. Then we have another one which is a cross-platform development. Here, what is needed, the framework that is needed here is React Native. Of course, you must have the knowledge of React before you can, that will help you scale, or that will give you a better understanding of React Native. Then React Native is owned by Facebook. Then Flutter. Flutter is a Dart framework. Of course, React Native is a JavaScript framework. Flutter is a Dart framework that is owned by Google. Then we have Xamarin. Xamarin is a C Sharp mobile framework. Of course, Xamarin is owned by uh, Microsoft. Then we look at the mobile app backend. How do we power our mobile app? What backend do we need to power our mobile app? Here we'll be needing a backend like Node.js, Ruby on Rails, uh, Django, and Firebase. Now, first of all, I need to tell us. I didn't tell us the use case of uh, iOS. Well, I told you it is used for building native applications for Apple devices, including iPhones and iPads. Then for Android, for building native apps for Android smartphones and tablets rather. Then the use case for the cross-platform development is for building mobile apps that can run on both iOS and Android with a single code base, saving a lot of development time and effort. You now have, instead of having multiple code bases, you now have a single code base where you can test and debug your code. Now, for mobile app backend, of course, for every front end or mobile app, you need to power it. So what powers it? How do we power it from backend? You can use Node.js from JavaScript. That is the runtime of JavaScript. Then you can use Ruby on Rails to power it. But the organ of them is the Django, the boss, of course, to power it. So you can also use Firebase. Um, Firebase is a kind of cloud-based database that is owned by Google that can be used as a backend for it can be used as a backend and a data storage for mobile app. Then of course, the next one we're going to be talking about is mobile app design, where we have Sketch, Figma, Adobe XD. Here, the need and requirement for UI UX designer is high, because they are going to be sketching and they be designing the mobile app, the features, the UI, and how the UX and all those stuffs using Sketch, Figma, and Adobe XD, any one of those. So then we have mobile app distribution. This is where we're gonna be hosting our that is where we will be having our uh, mobile apps. You know, with here we are talking about Apple App Store, where users can easily download our mobile apps. We have Google Play stores. You understand? So of course, it is used for publishing and distributing mobile apps to users through app stores. Then next one is we're gonna be looking at different various languages. We're gonna be looking at languages and their frameworks. You know, um, of course, most of us are doing languages. We don't know what they are used for, and of course, their frameworks. Programming languages are, of course, essential tools for developing software applications, and of course, many of them have associated frameworks that simplify and accelerate the development process. Like I told you, each programming language and framework has its strength and is suited to specific use case. I will give some popular programming languages, their respective frameworks, and of course, uh, application area, and of course, typical use case. So we're going to be discussing that now. So here we have Django, Flask, Pyramid, and Fast API. These are framework um, for Python. These are Python framework, and of course, the application is on web development, data analysis, machine learning, scientific computing, and automation. You understand? Then the use cases are for building web applications, creating data analysis pipelines, developing machine learning models, and scripting. Yes, you heard me say you heard me say scripting. Yes, Python can also be used for scripting, but in a very you still need JavaScript though. You need JavaScript to write Python script on the front end. Anyway, that is not the reason for this. So another one we're gonna be talking about is JavaScript. Yeah, we'll be looking at frameworks like React, Angular, Vue.js, Node.js runtime. The applications is for front-end web development, back-end server development, cross-platform mobile app development. Then the use cases are for building interactive web applications, creating real-time applications, and developing server-side applications. So that is for JavaScript and Python. Then the next one is Java and C Sharp. Java frameworks, here we'll be talking about Spring framework, Hibernate, and of course Apache Struts. Apache Strut. Then applications here are for enterprise software, Android app, Android app development, web applications, and the use cases are for building large scale, high performance enterprise applications, Android app development, and web applications. Then for C Sharp, we have frameworks like ASP.NET, .NET Core, and Xamarin. Remember I told you Xamarin is for mobile app, cross-platform mobile app. Then we have applications like desktop applications, web applications, and mobile app development via Xamarin. Then the use cases here are for developing Windows applications, building web services, and creating cross-platform mobile apps. Then the next one we're going to be talking about is Cynthia Augustine. Welcome. Is Ruby. Ruby is like frameworks. Ruby frameworks like Ruby on Rails are for Rubies. Then we have its application is web development. Then use cases are for rapid development of web applications with a focus on simplicity and conversion over configuration. Then of course we have PHP. In PHP we're going to be talking about Laravel, Symfony, and Code Igniter. Then of course its application is on web development, just for web development. Then the use cases are for building dynamic and scalable web applications, content management systems like WordPress. So other ones that we can still focus on are Golang, which is developed by Google. The framework for here is Gin and Echo. We can also talk about its application, which is also for web servers, microservices, and systems programming. The use cases is for building high performance web servers, developing scalable microservices, and low level system programming. We have Rust. The framework, it has none in the traditional sense, but Rust has a strong standard library. Its application is system programming, embedded systems, and game development. Use cases are for creating safe, concurrent and performant system software, especially in the areas where memory safety is critical. Then we have we have um, we have Swift UI, which is for iOS and Mac OS app development. Its application is, of course, my iOS and Mac OS development. Uh, app- uh, these use cases is for building native apps for Apple ecosystem, including iPhone, iPad, and Mac. And TypeScript has its framework, of course, Angular, React with TypeScript. I didn't mention TypeScript because, of course, you first of all need to know JavaScript, because TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. You understand? So you need to know JavaScript before TypeScript. Of course, we are going to be taught TypeScript, which is, you cannot escape it. Then the application of TypeScript is front end web development, just like JavaScript. It is even much more better now to use TypeScript, but you don't need to bend your neck. Its use cases for enhancing JavaScript with static typing for large scale web applications. Then another one I didn't mention is Kotlin. Kotlin has its framework as, okay. You can use Kotlin. You can use Spring Boot for Kotlin to build the backend development. You can use Android Jetpack for Android app development. Then, of course, Kotlin can be applied to backend development and Android app development. Then its use cases is developing efficient and concise backend services and creating Android apps with less boilerplate code. Then another one I would have loved to mention, which is Scala. Scala has Akka as frameworks, which is for actor-based concurrency. Then Play framework for web development. Its application is on web development, distributed and concurrent system. Then its use cases for building scalable and high performance web applications and systems. Uh, well, I can, okay. Well, these are just few examples of programming languages and their associated frameworks, and of course their typical use cases. Well, you don't have to know all of these, but of course, if you know majority of them, is very good. But you don't have to know all of this, because the choice of language and framework depend on factors such as project requirement, development team expertise, specific application needs, and what have you. Um, each language and frameworks has its own strengths and weaknesses, and making them suitable for different types of projects. Hacking tools, Olamide, Adebanke Adelogi. He said, how did I manage to know and master all these languages? Well, let me shock you. I don't know all the languages, except the reason being that there are some I'm not interested in. You understand? Then the frameworks and everything. Uh yes, I know some frameworks, not all frameworks. I can't know everything. You understand? And of course, even Mark Zuckerberg does not know everything. And of course, Elon Musk, and but of course, you should. I know a lot of languages, but I don't know all the languages. I cannot know all because it depends on interest. It depends on interest. There are some languages that are not interesting to me, so I don't bother to stress myself. Then Olumide Adejumo, hacking tools. Hmm. Well, that one will be talked in private though. I won't be saying that here. It's not something that should be, you know, for safety sake. Let's just keep that in private. Olumide Adejumo, for your question. Then there are some that I would love to talk about. um, these are my beloved C and C++. C and C++ are versatile programming languages known for their performance and low-level system programming capabilities. Let me give you details about C and C++ along with some use cases and associated frameworks. Uh, okay. Uh, C. Let me start with C. C is a low-level language and doesn't have traditional frameworks like other high-level languages. Then its application is on system programming, uh, operating systems, embedded systems, and game development. Of course, with libraries like SDL. Then its use cases for writing operating systems. For writing operating systems, device drivers, firmware, and low-level code. Where sorry, excuse me, firmware and low-level code, where performance and control over hardware are criticals. Then another thing we're going to be looking at is CSS. I mean, sorry, I said CSS. C++. C++. C++ is often okay. Olumide Adejuma, I know it's for educational purposes, just to have a general idea. Yes, I know. I will also tell you for the educational purposes in private. C++ has libraries and frameworks like Qt, Boost, and WS widgets. Its application is on system programming, game development, using game engines like Unreal engines. Then we have desktop software, embedded systems. You can apply that too. You can apply it on those two. Then the use cases for building high performance applications, especially um, Kingshi, especially those with complex logics, graphics, and resource management. C++ is commonly used in game development, real-time simulations, and large-scale software systems. C and C++ are often these are languages that are often chosen when you are trying to consider low-level control over hardware. They have this kind of memory efficiency and raw computational power, which are essential. Well, they may not have the same level of abstraction and ease of use as some other languages. Of course, they excel in situations where performance and efficiency are paramount, embedded systems and all those stuff. Now let's come down to product design. I know product designers would have been like, what is happening? Well, product design is not a one-way thing. It's a kind of multidisciplinary field that focus on creating functional and aesthetical pleasing products. They are like about beauty, they love beauty and all those stuff. So it involves various technologies and methodologies to design, prototype, and develop physical and digital products. So let me just quickly talk about key aspects of product designs along with technologies and common use case. Here we're going to be talking about sketching and conceptualization, where you use technologies like pencils, paper, digital sketching tools like Adobe Photoshop and Procreate. Well, the use case is for brainstorming ideas, sketching initial concepts, and visualizing design concepts. Then, of course, the CAD, which is computer aided design, which is not what we are concerned about. So I won't talk about that. I will also have 3D printing and rapid prototyping, which is for 3D printers and CNC machines and laser cutter. I'm not interested in that. And of course, material selections, which is not also our AOC, area of concentration. Then we talk about user experience, UX, user interface, UI design. So the technology in use here is design softwares like Sketch, Figma, Adobe XD, and InVision. The use cases are designing intuitive and kind of user-friendly interfaces for digital products and applications. So any other thing is just like what else can I think of? Yeah, prototyping and mock-up tools. I remember that. Technologies that is needed in prototyping and mock-up tools are prototyping softwares like Balsamic and Azure. I don't want to pronounce it as Azure because it will be I will be I'll be you some of you might mistake it as Microsoft Azure, so it's Azure, AXURE. So the use case here is for creating interactive prototypes of digital products and applications for user testing and feedback. We also have a concept like simulation and analysis. Finite element analysis, which is what we call FEA, and computational fluid dynamics, CFD softwares. I don't need to talk about these. It's much more. Blockchain programming. Yes, we are coming. Don't worry. Don't worry. We are coming to that. I'll talk about blockchain too. So, okay, blockchain programming. Should I start with blockchain now, or I should go over to, or I should just continue? Then after that, I talk about blockchain. Let me see. Let me. I need your. I need your response now. No, I'll talk about. Okay. Um. Okay. Blockchain programming. Um. Yes, we're gonna be talking about some suitable programming languages on blockchain, and of course, things you should know while when you are considering blockchain programming. First of all, we need to talk about, okay, what are blockchain programming first? Blockchain programming involves developing applications that utilize blockchain technology. So blockchain is a kind of decentralized and distributed ledger technology known for its security, transparency, and immutability. So of course, I will let me give some key aspect of blockchain programming. Yeah, we're gonna be looking at blockchain platforms. Now, first of all, you need to choose a blockchain platform to develop on. You understand? So the popular options include Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Hyperledger Fabric, Corda, and many more. These are the platform to develop on. You understand? We have Corda, we have all others. Then, of course, the choice, well, depends on factors like use case, scalability, and of course, consensus mechanisms. Now, another key aspect to consider is smart contract. Smart contract is the ability to write uh, smart contract using blockchain specific programming languages like Solidity for Ethereum or chain code for Hyperledger Fabrics. Um, Factored Africa, a question. Okay, do we need to have to study all the frameworks in our various stacks? No, you don't need to. You don't need to. That's why. Thank you, Adibola Jegede. You don't need to study all those. You just need to pick one. That's why we are bringing this out. So after the live, it's gonna be available. You can rewatch for better understanding and stuff. You understand? If you have lost track. So what are smart contracts? Smart contracts are like self-executing contract with the terms of the agreement directly written into code. Okay, they run on blockchain, of course, and automatically enforce concept rules. I mean, sorry, contract rules. So another thing to consider is development tools. We use development tools and environment designed for blockchain development. For example, I told you Ethereum. For Ethereum, sorry, use tools like Remis and Truffle, which are popular. For Hyperledger Fabric, you can use Composer or Fabric SDKs. Then another aspect to consider is the decentralized application, which is dApps. To build a decentralized application, uh, you consider is something that interact with what, with the blockchain. Of course, dApps interact with the blockchain. dApps typically consist of a front-end interface and smart contracts running on the blockchain. So we use frameworks like Web3.js for Ethereum or libraries like Ether.js to connect dApps to the blockchain. Then another thing to consider is testing and debugging. How do you test and debug? To test smart contracts, uh, you need to rigorously test smart contracts to rigorously, sorry, to ensure security and functionalities. In this case, you have to try to understand tools like Truffle Suite. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry. Is it Suite or Suit? Let me write it. Let me write it in the comment section. Suit. Yes, I don't know how to pronounce. Yeah. Okay. King Shin said you list languages that can be used for backend like Python, Node.js, etc. Okay, sweet. Okay, thank you, Adibanke. Now, my question is it all the languages you listed that we will use for backend or all? You cannot, well, it depends on what you are building. You can master one, you can master two. You understand? So it depends on what you are building. You understand? You can have three technologies, more than two, three technologies in one application. It depends. You understand? But of course, I would love you to master one and come over to another. You understand? It's good to have more than one languages and framework skill, but of course, master one first. So back on track. So test smart contracts rigorously to ensure security and functionalities. You understand? Tools like Truffle Suite provide testing frameworks. Then, of course, debugging smart contracts can be challenging, So, but tools like Remis provide debugging capabilities. Then, then for security, uh, security like security pay a special attention to. Okay, let's say in terms of security, we need to pay special attention to security that best that is security best practices when writing smart contracts. So yeah, vulnerability can lead to hacks and loss of funds. So common vulnerability includes uh, reentrancy attacks, integer overflows, and unchecked calls. You understand? The other concept to look at is interoperability. Let's consider how your blockchain application will interact with other blockchains and systems. Interoperability, forget about the English, is a standard like Polkadot. We have thank you, Osholali. We have Polkadot, Cosmos, Interledger, and Imagine to and Interledger can address this. Then we have tokens and cryptocurrencies. If your application involves creating tokens and you need to understand token standards like ERC20, that is Ethereum, or BEP20, which is Binance Smart Chain. Now, here comes the big part, which is deployment and no setup. You need to consider how to deploy your smart contract to the blockchain network of your choice. So you may need to set up nodes to run your blockchain network, especially for private blockchains. Then how do you maintain it? Another thing, once your blockchain application is live, you will need to monitor and maintain it. So consider how upgrades to smart contract or the blockchain protocols will be managed. Now, use cases. Of course, blockchain programming can be applied to various use cases, including cryptocurrency and digital payment, supply chain, finance, gaming. Of course, creating blockchain-based games with unique assets and in-game currencies. We all know that. So, identity verification, healthcare, and voting system. So, you might be wondering, voting system. Okay, I'm coming to answer all your questions. Let me just so we have understanding, or we have understood that blockchain programming offers numerous possibilities, but it is essential to have a kind of deep understanding of blockchain technology, smart contract development, and security best practices to create reliable and secure blockchain applications. And additionally, of course, you need to keep up with their rapidly evolving blockchain ecosystems to leverage the latest tools and techniques. So I think with this said, you now understand what blockchain technologies are. So any question? Let me start with Priscilla Inkechi. Priscilla, you said, sir, to become a software engineer, which program do you need to master? Well, first of all, you need what program are you currently on? Any of those programming languages that I mentioned and their frameworks or whatever, any of them, of course, could make you become a software engineer, regardless of your background. Yes, this Sadivanke guy. So, regardless of a background, so any of those programming language, you master them, you can become a software engineer. That'll make you become a software engineer. Now, Olumide Adejumo, which framework is SpaceStack and Flutter using? Flutter Waves using? Yes, well, Flutter Wave. These are these are payment platforms that offers APIs to integrate to your in order for you to integrate payment system to your applications. Well, I don't know what Paystack use. I think most of them use Java and of course Flutter Waves use Java and I think Kotlin for their Android and whatever. But you don't need to know. You don't need to bother yourself on what they use. Just focus on what you are doing. Just focus on what you are doing. So that is that. Thank you, Koka Akingbade. Thank you. God bless you. Um, of course, Java class is going to commence on Monday. So videos on Java lessons will commence on Monday. So that will be going like that. Then the class will be available from, okay, you'll be able to log into the space from next week by God's grace. From next week by God's grace. So any other question? Any question while we are still on? Any question? Somebody said is yes, Git and GitHub tomorrow, please. You all need to have the knowledge of Git and GitHub. It is mandatory for you. So at least, okay, first of all, before that, let me first of all talk about blockchain vulnerability to attack. Yes, every applications online are vulnerable to attack. It is important for you to it is important for you to it is unto you to maintain security of your system, of your application. So every anything is vulnerable to attack as far as it's online. You understand? So that is that. So not only blockchain, it's not peculiar to blockchain. um King Shin, thank you. Chukwunonso Chikwendo, to be a cybersecurity analyst, which program should I know? Anyway, for cybersecurity, I think Python is important. But the cybersecurity guy, like I said, will be available soon. So I told you this October it will be available. So no stress about that. I've told him. For those of you that are much more interested in that. Yes, you can. You can. Priscilla, you can switch another program. Why are you switching? What's happening? Yes. Adebanke Adele, we haven't spoken about cyber. Yeah, I haven't. Basically because we don't have that on board now. So I don't want to talk about what we don't have. So we'll still have another one that for those that will be doing cyber securities and stuff. Sure you get. So that is that. My uncle works for Goldman Sachs to build their mobile apps. Is he a front-end developer as a code in Kotlin? No, he's not. He's not. If he's you have said it in your this thing, mobile apps. So he's not a front end, he's a mobile app developer because Kotlin is optimized for Android development. You understand? So that is that. We breed football. So he's a mobile app developer. And of course, for those of you that want to learn Kotlin, that one too is coming. So because I will be combining Java and Kotlin together. Yeah, thank you very much. So you can't learn Kotlin without having a system because you'll be needing an emulator and as well as Android Studio. So for those of you that are still using um, mobile device to code or trying to use something like using a software like a CodePen or Replit, you understand? Those things are limited to it, and even React Native. So you still need a system. Somebody said Pydroid 3. Python is not yet optimized for though they have Kiwi, which is what they have Kiwi, but I'm telling you Python is not optimized for mobile app yet. So that is that. So any other question? I don't have a 2023 laptop anyways. So there's don't forget about the year. Is the capacity of that laptop. Don't worry, I don't want to advertise for any products here. So I will see to um, sending that across to the platforms. You understand? So so any other question? Any other question, please? So tomorrow, um, thank you very much. We'll beat the football. So tomorrow we are going to be, please, same time. We are going to be having Git and GitHub. So we are past the stage of um, sending my code to you in private. You know, I should be able to. I should be able to push my code to GitHub, and you should be able to clone it from GitHub. You understand? We've gone grown past the stage of we've grown past the stage of you um, we've grown past the stage of you so can I have typing my code base on the command I mean on the comment section, or trying to text it to you personally and stuff. Ah, somebody asked the question. So when you're talking about blockchain programming language, you didn't mention Python. Does it mean Python isn't a language for? In fact, Python is optimized for blockchain. So sweet for blockchain. So, so if you have these two languages, blockchain and Solidity, the sky is your starting point when it comes to blockchain programming. When you have these two languages, the sky is your starting point. So, my not mentioning it is just an overview. Elisha Abasi, thank you for reminding me. So any other question, please tomorrow, please Git and GitHub. Um, don't forget, same time, 9 o'clock. And I think if you feel this moment is worth the while, thank you very much. If you feel this moment is worth the while, you can hit the like button, share this across all platforms, share this across all platforms. Um, Adebanke, he said, meaning Python is God of all of languages and Django is God of frameworks. I'm on the right. Well, every language is claim its absoluteness. You understand? But Python is just so multi-purpose. So that is just it. It's not as if yes, it's God, it's multi-purpose, and of course it's beginners friendly. Every language and framework has its own absoluteness. You understand? So yes, but Python is Python. Right? Uh, every language rather has its own absoluteness and strength. You understand? But Python is just so promiscuous. Let me use that word. You know what I mean by promiscuous is that it doesn't stay with one thing. It just wants to penetrate every nooks and crannies, and that's just it. So please, if you find this worth the while, share it across all platforms. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channels, and of course, keep watching. You can, of course, as well click the notification button so as to get informed as to new things. Um, so while the time is ticking, don't waste your time thinking. So join others in the race to subscribe to Technocraft Academy. Thank you very much for your time, and God bless you.